Hello everyone, I'm just testing that we have went live. In case you are able to hear my voice, just say yes into the live chat window. We will be starting in a minute. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello everyone. Just say hi into the live chat. This is the second last session which we are doing in our series of DP 600 and 700, primarily DP 700. And this session is really important those who are appearing for DP 600, because in DP 600 we have a lot of questions around DAX and Power BI. Yes, we are also going to get a lot of questions in DP 700 also, but in DP700, you also need to focus on SQL, KQL, and PySpark. I'm assuming that this series is helping you out, and those who missed out any of the videos from this series, they can watch those videos by using this series link. So I'm going to provide you the series link, and this is the opportunity to ask questions and help others who are also looking for help for this series. So please make sure that you watch all the videos, you post your comments into the live chat or into the comments and help each other there, or also participate in the WhatsApp group. Now those who are joining for very first time and are looking for what is the benefit of joining this series, so if you are watching this series before 5th of December 2025, you can get a free DP 700 or 600 voucher, or you can also get a PL 300 50% discount voucher. You have to use this link of register now. I will also add this link into the description, but this is available as of now in the live chat. Now if you're not sure how to fill this, there is another video which I'm posting into the live chat. I'll add it to the description, which tells you how to apply for that. And those who have already got DP 700 voucher in the live chat, they can said that yes, I've got it. And those who are still waiting and cross 14 days can also tell me that yes, I have applied but I still not got it, so that I can take care of that in coming days. So let's start today's journey. Today we are looking forward to created the semantic model. We would also like to understand what is shortcuts and what is mirroring and all those. Some of these would be little concepts only. So let me do one thing. Let me switch the screen and directly jump onto the Power BI UI, which is app.powerbi, which is also the known as Power BI experience of Microsoft Fabric. Now in this experience, we have workspaces and we are using Microsoft Fabric trial capacity workspace. And that is where we are going to create today our semantic model. Now before we jump onto that, let me showcase you few. First of all, in this new item, if you go down, you have option for mirrored database, mirrored Google BigQuery, mirrored Oracle, mirrored SAP, mirrored Snowflake, mirrored SQL Server. Now, what does this mirroring? So mirroring means you will be able to get data from the source without writing too much of code. You don't have to take care of change data capture, CDC. Microsoft Fabric is going to take care of that. Similarly, we have mirrored Azure SQL managed instances, mirrored Azure SQL databases, mirrored Azure database catalog, mirrored Azure database for Postgres, mirrored Azure Cosmos DB. So there are so many default mirrors are available, and if you want something which is not available, you can use this mirrored databases, a generic way to bring in your data. Now if you are having a source as Snowflake or maybe as Databricks catalog, or if you are using Azure Cosmos DB or Azure database for PostgreSQL, and you want to bring that data and you don't want to write down the code for each and every table and manage it, then mirroring is the best choice for you. because you don't need to take care of change data capture. You don't have to worry when my data is going to come. It can come at a fast frequency and can get updated as soon as it gets updated at the source. But what we should take care while doing the mirroring. Now you have to assume, like, if you are not on Azure, if you are not in the same region of Azure, mirroring is going to query the data at your source. Now, what does querying data at the source means? It's going to consume the compute unit of the source. If it is across regions or across clouds, then you may be charged for the data transfer. So while doing mirroring, it sounds really great for us that okay, we don't need to write any kind of code, but if you are using on-demand instances, you need to be careful about these two costs. So mirroring is very simple. I don't have any database to showcase you, but I'll just show you the UI and you can go ahead and experiment on that if you have the source database. So just do some simple setups and you will be able to get the mirroring done. I'm seeing a little lag here. So as I've chosen one single database, definitely I will have this one only. So you give your details of the connections and then you can, go ahead and use the mirroring. And mirror is going to create a database here, data warehouse typically, which is going to be automatically managed by Microsoft Fabric. So this is mirroring. Mirroring is one of the way to bring in data. Then we have copy job, copy activity. Then we have Dataflow Gen 2, and I told them in order. So if mirroring is there, I want lesser maintenance, I would prefer mirroring. Unless I'm on demand instances and I see there are too many hits. Then copy job, it has a very good CDC. Then we have copy activity. Both copy job and copy activity are for volume data. Then we have Dataflow Gen 2. Like in case you want to bring the data and transform it, we have Dataflow Gen 2. It also have now fast copy so that it can give you the performance. Now there is something known as shortcut. Now shortcut allows you to analyze the data without bringing it here. A shortcut will create caches in case for fast answering. But if it is Azure, let's say ADLS Gen 2, it's kind of native. It is just looking into the same if it is in same region, it's just like looking into the same region data, and it's just like available in Microsoft Fabric. Now to take an example, we can actually create shortcuts in Lakehouse only. So I'll go to this Lake01 and I can show you where the shortcut is available. So we have this Lakehouse, and when you go to the schemas now, previously it was available in tables. Now if you have to go to schema and you have this new table shortcut. Now the new table shortcut can come from the one lake, which is our Fabric. It can come from Amazon S3 compatible, Azure Blob Storage, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, and I have a video where I've shown how to connect with that. You need to have URL and all the other details available. Dataverse, Google Cloud Storage, OneDrive, and SharePoint. Now see, OneDrive and SharePoint is also available that you can bring in data. So you can click here on the OneDrive. You don't have connection, so you can call for new connection. And then you can go ahead and give the URL, give the connection detail, and you can connect with that. So your folder URL, and you can try. And then similarly for SharePoint, you can also try. Now I will show you the shortcuts, but I will show you only the shortcut for the tables, which is available in Fabric. Now the second kind of shortcut which is available is basically file shortcut. Again, new shortcut, you can have SharePoint folder or any of those options, new connections, you bring in your files also. Okay, so in this manner you will be able to bring your data for tables and file using shortcuts, and it will, after the shortcut is created, you'll just feel okay, it is just the native data for me. I'm not having the data which is available at a little different place. It's just available data in Fabric, and with caching it's going to take care. Now can this be done on top of on-premise Oracle DB? So I'm not sure you are asking for mirroring. I think mostly for mirroring. So what we can do here is we can go back to our workspace and new item, mirror Oracle database. If you are getting the option for on-premise gateway, it means it can be done for on-premise. Yeah, we are seeing on-premise gateway options. So you should go ahead and try this out. On-premise gateway is required for this source. It means Oracle database would be treated as on-premise only. So now this happens with few sources. There are sources with which when Power BI service or Microsoft Fabric connects, cannot connect without a gateway, and seems like this particular source also you will always require a gateway. The cloud connection is not so easy. So yes, it's possible as far as what we are looking in the UI, but you have to go ahead and try that out. Now what I'm going to do, and this is one of the practice which I do. First of all, I'm going to create a new workspace. So here in the workspace is new workspace. I usually call it as reporting workspace. Now why I'm creating this reporting workspace, I'll explain to you. Then I go to advanced, I keep my fabric capacity. In this case, I'm going to keep a trial capacity and keep any of the working trial capacities. Now those should be from the same region. We do have central US also, so we need to be a little careful about that. I think any of these should work. I think this was the one, BDW was the one which I was using. It doesn't matter as long as that is in central India, and then I can go ahead and click on apply. Now why I'm creating this another workspace for reporting? Anyway, even in the Power BI world, we used to create the semantic model and typically used to create the reports in a separate workspace. Now data modeling was not so big at that time. You know, everything used to happen in semantic model or data flows. Now here data modeling has real big, means you have Lakehouse, warehouse, Eventhouse, so many things. So first is one of the things which I wanted to do. I want to separate out the reporting from my data engineering. Second reason is I want the security separation, not only the work separation, security separation. It's easy to secure this content. You know, when the reports are separate, we don't have access to Lakehouse and warehouse. We can better manage it. Third one, because of which I use it, is basically when I want to use different capacity for reporting and analysis compared to the capacity of my data, then I need a shortcut. Now what happens is a Lakehouse uses the capacity, especially the shortcuts, uses the capacity of current workspace. Now it is practically possible. You've seen I have 5 capacities, so I could have changed that capacity. I could use any one of those capacities, especially in the same region. Now if I have multiple capacities and I say Power BI user should not get impacted because of my data engineering, what would I would like? I would like them to switch on the different capacity, but they are using the same one lake. They query the data on the one lake, it is going to go on that capacity where the one lake data resides, where the one lake is there, which is attached with that capacity, and it is going to consume the capacity, that capacity. We don't want that. So for that, what we have done, and there is a article and also video which I have done to explain it in detail, that we go ahead and create a new Lakehouse where we will bring shortcuts from all other places where we need. Now while it is practically possible today to have a semantic model from multiple lakehouses and warehouses, but I still prefer to create a lakehouse which is my reporting lakehouse, and this is a new thing which has come very recently. Location Lakehouse with schemas I'm going to create in a new workspace, in the reporting workspace, and I'll get the shortcut from everywhere so that this particular Lakehouse uses capacity attached with this workspace, and whenever I need, I can move it on different capacity. I can separate out my data engineering users from my report consuming users. Think about your creating a management dashboard. Now, management will not wait your data engineering running tons of data. They might be keeping their capacity 99% fill or 90% above fill. The ETLs are running every now and then, and they will not get any capacity for their reporting. Our Fabric is intelligently controlling it, but still there is huge workload. So this allows us to separate the reporting from our data workload. For that, what you have to do, you have to go to the schema and bring in new table via shortcut from Microsoft Fabric only, one lake. And where is our data? I think most of my data is in lake 01. So let me see. Lake 01 next. Tables, DBO. Okay, I have sales. I have geography. I don't have others, so let's add these to only create. So you can see the little difference here. The icon here, shortcut icon is there. Now let's see if I have the other tables in other places. So new shortcut again. I can have a schema shortcut also. Okay, I can bring in the complete schema shortcut. New table shortcut, Lakehouse, and now let's go to warehouse 01. Let's see, do I have the tables there, the customer table and the, yes, I have customer and item here. See, part of the tables I'm bringing there, part of the tables I'm bringing the other place. I'm hopeful I'm getting the same sales table. Need to look at the data actually. So I have created 4 different shortcuts. Now I can create now a Power BI semantic model in this. And that semantic model, because it is created on the shortcuts which is there in this workspace, is going to use the capacity of this particular workspace. So I got that advantage. There is a separation between the semantic model where it is created versus the data which is like. Now when I want to apply the RLS, I can use identity login if I need. Okay, that's another thing I can do. Okay, this is not the sales data which I need. Let me look at the geography data. I might have to remove this shortcut and bring again. The geography seems correct. Item and customer seems correct. The sales table is a little different table. So let's bring in the sales table again. Let's delete this shortcut. So how to delete? Click on the shortcut name. Click on delete. Or is it the same one? Oh, it's the same one. Okay, let's check it out. The product IDs and customer IDs are not the one which I'm using. So let's go ahead, delete tables, no, schema, new table shortcut, Microsoft Fabric. And if you are doing first time, it may ask you to connect. Sometime it may happen. Sales. Next. Look at this sales table. Yes, I think Ranjan has asked very good question. Does that mean 6? Yes, sir. This means 6. Actually, we are creating 6 to avoid 9. I could have a 1 in between just for the shortcut Lakehouse and the semantic model. But the good thing now what we have is basically that we can create the item level permissions. And to viewers, actually, I don't want to give them even access to the workspace level. I just want to give them the access at the app level and the read data on semantic model only. So I'm going to give them only read permission on semantic model. Now, which type of security I would like, that will decide whether I need to give them access to the lake houses or not. Now, if I'm going to use one lake security and single sign on, access my one lake, then I need to give them access to the one downstream one lake. If I'm using the identity method or using the semantic model security, now when we want to do semantic model level security, we have to break the ties between the one lake and Lakehouse using SSO. We have to use identity security. I've already discussed, and tomorrow I'm going to show you that. And in that case, what we do is we go ahead and only give break the ties between Lakehouse and semantic model and use identity login, and then we only give access to the semantic model. So depending on what you are doing, you have to control the access to this one. Now you have to give item level controls. Preferably I would have a third workspace where only reports are there, not even this one, because think about, now you have to think about a user, and let's think about a scenario where the semantic model access only has been given and we are using identity login. Now in such scenario, I can give him report creation permission. If I give report creation permission, he need a workspace to save, and probably this is going to be the workspace where he's going to save it. So you need to give him more than viewer permission, and the moment you give more than viewer permission in Power BI world, security doesn't apply. So on the workspace, if you give more than viewer permission, the security doesn't apply. So all these things we need to take care. That's why we create these different workspaces. What you have to do is you have to give him some other workspace access. Okay, you save your report in my workspace or somewhere, and once you are done with the report, we'll move it to where you only have the viewer or you don't have access. We just give you the access on the app. I have a question on PySpark where we can set the cluster size. Can we choose the machine type? See, I think we have shown that in yesterday's one. So you remember, we went to the workspace, and here if you see the workspace setting, so workspace setting, we have data engineering, Spark settings, and then we have pool. We did try to set up new pool, and we can give it as a name, new pool. You want memory optimized nodes? What kind of nodes? Small, medium, large? Or enable auto scale, minimum 1 to max, let's say 20 or 10, whatever is available. Maximum can have max I think not more than 15-16 are allowed. Okay, dynamic allocation 1 to 14, and you can create a pool like this, and we can use. Okay, but be careful if you are using the trials and everything. If you are using a bigger pool, you may end up consuming your cap. So this is how you create a pool, and you can click on create and use it. Do try it out and share how does it work, good, or some testing around it. Okay, I'm cancelling it right now, and we'll jump back onto our original topic. So now what I'm going to do here is, now we understood that we are going to use this workspaces, set of workspaces, deal with this, all these things. We would like to create a semantic model. Now, create a semantic model, you can use Power BI desktop, can use one lake catalog, and can bring data from multiple lake houses. But as I'm already creating a reporting lake house which will contain shortcuts from all other places, I'm going to use only one lake house. But you can bring data from multiple lake houses and warehouses into a semantic model and can create a directly. So click here, new semantic model, give it a name, reporting, sales reporting maybe, SM0. I can select all the tables. Now one of the missing thing which is there in this schema is date table, which we are going to cover in a short while. I am going to bring in a date table which is basically DAX date, and to bring that in, I think I need to open one of my existing Power BI file, and one such file is, I think I have already shared with you. Again, you can go to my GitHub account, and there you can use any of the end-to-end series file. Now the semantic model is getting created. It will get created with those initial set of tables. Now I think this came in one of the series live video when we wanted to have little more detail, additional detail on a table. How do we get that? So let's say you want to bring new tables, or you want to bring the changes in an existing table. Let's say column has changed, column name has changed. How you are going to do this? So the answer is this edit table. You should be in editing mode. On the right top, the mode should be editing here. Now, this is one thing you need. So you should be in the editing mode. After that, you can use edit table. And inside the edit table, if you have done only changes in the table, just click on this refresh and confirm. If you want additional table, just check that table and click on confirm. But it is always better that you refresh. It is going to take care of any other changes which you have done here. Now, other than that, you have this editing mode and viewing mode. You have your all common options like new measure, new table, calculation group, field parameters are now available here. And then we have all one lake catalog to bring the data from lake houses, mirrored databases and everything. So now you got it here also, okay. And those who are using the import mode, means now as you might be aware, and I did have created a video around that, for import mode also you don't need a Power BI desktop. You can completely create that model from scratch from here only. So you can go ahead and the home should have this plus button. You can click on this plus button and you can directly click on get data, and you will be able to create from the scratch semantic model in the web UI with your all Power Query steps and everything without touching the desktop. Complete web authoring is available both for Power BI import mode as well as direct query mode as well as direct lake mode. So we are in direct lake mode right now. We've created this from Fabric. All this is direct lake. Now I'm going to create the relationship, and post that I'm going to add a date table. So I'll quickly create a relationship. I think it is very clear with the name that city ID of the geography is going to join with the city ID of sales. Sales is on the many side. It is a perfect star schema which I have, which I'm using. Same way I'm going to join item with item ID, item ID, item ID, sales on many side, item on one side. I always prefer single directional join over the multi-direction join. And then the final join is basically customer ID and customer ID. I do have a city in the customer ID, auto detect relationship, especially in import mode does get confused, but we have to always use fact in the center, star schema. And why we call star, if I put it here like this, let me unzoom it a little. So if you see, whenever you look at a fact, looks like it is in the center, look like a star. When you have multiple facts and dimension, when you look at a dimension, it is surrounded by fact. When you look at a fact, it is surrounded by dimension, and that's why we call it star. Okay, Ranjan is asking, can we open this in Power BI desktop? Yeah, definitely we can. Okay, I think I should be showing you that. Let me showcase that also. And since auto save, we can edit, how can we avoid that? No, you can't avoid auto save. Only thing is there is a versioning now. So you can look back at the historical version. I think somewhere we have an option for that version history. You can see that, and you can create a new version. Auto save is not going to be off. And as you can see, edit in desktop is there. Now to edit in desktop, you should be logged in using this ID. Okay, so let me try to bring in my Power BI desktop. Which login it is? Anyways, even if it is on other login, I can show you that. Okay, so let me switch screen. Let me show you. How do you get this direct link on the desktop? So you have to go to new blank report. Once you create that blank report, in that blank report you have to start using from one lake catalog, and from one lake catalog you should be able to get. So once you get this report, you can directly go to this one lake catalog. But you just have to remember that if you are creating from desktop, 90% chances are typically it is editable from the desktop. So warehouse 01, and then don't go and say connect to SQL Analytics endpoint, use that connect to one lake. Okay, and connect. And then you can choose your tables. date, geography, employee, whatever you want. Give a name. It's going to be created in web. Okay. So model will be created in desktop, and you have to edit it from desktop only. This edit table might get disabled on online. Now, till the last time I've seen it. Now, as I said, Fabric is keep on changing. If you remember, I talked that identity column is not supported on warehouse, and that day we tried out and we got identity column just couple of days back in warehouse. Maybe most of the tenant it will get rolled out. I did saw the release notes. I have not tried it out, but yes, seems like identity column is making its way to warehouse. Now, while it is loading, let me check what is the next question. Ranjit, in Power BI desktop, we have one lake catalog. Okay, I think Ranjit already answered and I've showcased you. So what I'm going to do is, now I've already shown you, so I would like to jump here on the other file, and I actually wanted to take the date table script from there. And this is a combination now. You can have a date table which is index. And if you ask me, if you are creating calculation groups, those are also DEX only. Field parameters are also the DEX tables. So we are creating a combination of tables, which is DEX table or import mode tables, and this one. So you can have import mode table. Personally, I would not advise you to get import mode table here in the semantic model along with direct lake. I would say, okay, prefer only when you have like date table, or maybe I would also say you go ahead and create your date table in Power Query and bring it in direct lake mode. But yes, you can have that combination. So how do we get a new table here in the semantic model directly, which is not one lake, which is basically a DEX table. So if you are on this view, you see this new table. You click on this new table. Okay, have I switched the screen? No, doesn't seems like I have not switched my screen. So let me switch the screen. I will go back to my Dell screen. So if you are on this model, semantic model on the web, you have to click on this new table. Once you click on this new table, you will get this screen where you can paste your code, the table code, and I have pasted already existing code from my this one. I don't think I require this variable. Now let me look at the date ranges 18 to 21. Typically I have data from 18 to 20 or 18 to 22, depend on what copy of the data I use. And so it is basically using that calendar function, which requires two dates to start. So two dates to start and end. Basically one is start date and one is end date. And then I am using this add columns. What add columns does is it takes a table basically, and after that, using the column of that table, in this case it's only the date column, you can further write down new columns, which I have done. And because I needed formulas which are dependent on a column which I am generating from this first table, so I put down this my table, add column table, into a variable, and then I used again that variable table to create new columns here. In this manner, I am able to create a date table also. I will share this script. This script is always available on my GitHub account, and this particular file which I have used is available in the, let me showcase, end-to-end 2025. So that is known as Learn Power BI files, and if you take this file, let's say end-to-end 12 visualization with UDF or end-to-end visual calculations, you should be able to get the date table. This is the same file I have there in the 20-hour videos. So what I've done when I created this 20-hour video, it's not that I've given you one file. I've given you files at various stages. Let's say you know a little bit of Power BI and you say, I don't want to start from step one. I don't want to go ahead and create a model. I know all those things. I don't want to create simple functions index. I want to start from the middle somewhere. You have a file which you can use from that particular. So that's why I have, you will see that there are multiple files here, end to end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And after 12, actually, what happened is basically 14 is a little different file, but after 12, what happened, this series and video ended, I released it. Post that, whatever I was doing, I had a plan that I keep on adding as videos which are referencing to that one. So that's why you will see, 12 with visual calculation, 12 with UDF and all. User defined functions which recently came in, I have a video on. Now I got my date table. What you do when you get a date table, first of all, we right click on that date table and we look at, can we mark it as a date table? Now this option has changed in desktop. Now we got a calendar option. I think we have seen that couple of days back. So we have now calendar options, not the mark as a date table option. Inside the calendar option, we have mark as date table. That is there in the desktop, still to come on the web UI. Now, once you reach mark as a date table, you have to switch it on and you have to choose your primary date column. This date column which you are choosing should have continuous dates and should not be missing any of the dates which you are needing. Now, my date table is ready, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to join it with my sales date. Now I would like to create some measures because this is semantic model class. We don't want it to have something which is only creating a report. Basic report creation we have seen many times. So create measures, we want to create field parameters, we want to explore this semantic model, isn't it? So I'm going to create few measures. I'm also going to create calculation group as well as field parameters. Now little caution here, because I want to create calculation group. Every measurable I'm going to first create a measure, because once you create calculation group, implicit measure, the measure, like if I right now go and want to create a report, what I can do, I can drag this quantity and it will become sum of quantity. That sum of quantity would not be possible once I create a calculation. So before we do, why don't we take up an example so that you are better clear about that. Let's create a report. So in this report, which I'm not going to save, I can drag this item brand and I can drag this quantity. And look what happens is, it automatically sums it up as quantity, sum of quantity. What I can do here is, I tell you what would happen. And this is again new feature, filling in this space is the new feature which came in. It came in I think in September, and now in November we got for metrics also. Previously it was not filling in space. There is a property, call it auto size width. If we uncheck it, it will be like this. This is the new property which came in. Now if I click on this table, what I can do here is, in the visualization I can go and don't summarize. Now these are the distinct set of values. Don't think that these are row level value. When you say don't summarize in Power BI, it means distinct of all the columns you have taken. Okay. Yeah, I think Geeta has asked, do we have to schedule a daily the date table? And I think Ranjit has already asked no. The only thing is, if you are using a dynamic date like today or referencing on today, your semantic model should refresh to get that today at least once in a day. Semantic model refresh will do, and anyway it's a direct link model, so as soon as you do some changes in your base table, it will change unless you force it to not to refresh automatically and refresh by manual refreshes. Okay, so now you know that the two things which is possible when we don't have calculation group. Once we create calculation group, we're going to come back. So now it's looking like a star schema. Objective is completed. Okay, now what we are going to do, I need measures. Now what happens, measures can be created in any of the table of the schema. Typically, to keep it a little clean, we create a measure table. Now this table could have come from your Lakehouse and is a table without any data, or I can click here, because now I have an option to create a table here. I can create a table here, new table. I can keep its name as measure. Measures is not supported, be careful. And I've seen in the past we by mistake created tables with the result names of Power BI, and it created a lot of trouble. You will not be knowing why your model is not refreshing, why it is not working, especially in the Fabric world. In Power BI world, if you are in desktop, it will not allow you create a measures table, MEASURES. But here, if you create a measure table, it's going to allow you measures also sometime, and then it is going to create a lot of trouble because Power BI. So I created this table, and now doesn't look like that double calculator. And for that, first of all, let's create a measure. So we are going to create our simple measures. Now I have to create row level calculations because I have not done that by bringing, I do have a gross amount, so I don't have to do all the calculations. But let's simply try to start with some calculations. I'm going to click on the table which I want as a home table. That's the best way, so that I don't have to move them. So what happens if you don't create them in a table? Every measure can have a home table, and then you have to later move. I don't want to do that, so I clicked on the major table and click on new major from the middle of the screen, and here I'm going to create a new major, gross. What is gross? It is nothing but sum of gross amount. Gross amount is already calculated at row. I got my first major, gross. Some problem, is it a table? Seems like I created a table, not a major. Is the major table gone? Okay, we did some mistake here. This was the major table. I think we edited that. So let me click on the major table, new major. Okay, I have done it before the new major arrives. Okay, gross is nothing but sum of sales gross amount. So I got my first major, sum of gross amount. My major table is there. Now I'm going to do little magic here. Once I have a major in my major table which only supposed to carry the majors, I'm going to hide the column, only column which is available, and it becomes a major table. It comes on the top, it gives a little different icon, and it starts showing only major. Direct lake versus import mode, any downside of direct lake? See, direct lake is only be used with the data in the fabric. If the data is not bought in the fabric, let's say I have a very small Excel sheet or very small data, I don't want to create this entire mechanism of bringing it to Lakehouse, or don't want to use that, Dataflow gen to too many stuff. Then I can use import mode, because in fabric it's a process. Bring the data, land it to a Lakehouse warehouse, and then create live semantic model. Now, so an import mode works really good till the time of medium to large size data. If you have large to very large, then I think you should prefer the direct lake mode, because we are not creating copy of data. Again, one of the things is import mode. Let's say I can connect to this Lakehouse and bring the data in the import mode. It's going to create another copy of data, which I don't want. I don't want another copy of data. That's a disadvantage. But if it is a smaller data, I can bring it directly from the source and create it in import mode. Easy to maintain. The owner can edit it in the file itself and can manage it easy. So typically import modes are little easily manageable. That's why for still some organization, for a smaller set of data does. Okay. Can this be done on RBS on basis of sales area semantic model level of South? So I think the question might be at the workspace level. I think Deep Kumar wanted to know that, can we have workspaces based on sales, finance? Yes, we do have workspaces. Yes, we do have workspaces based on the area. So typically in an organization, we have sales data workspace, sales reporting workspace, finance data workspace, finance reporting workspace, and all those. And then we typically use whatever capacity. Okay, I think Ranjan has answered one question. I think he was asking, and the downside is you can't create calculated tables. Actually, DAX tables are supported. If you see, we are creating tables, and now if you see, because of this one lake catalog, I will also be able to bring in a new table. And I think we have now models where we are able to bring in the import mode tables and direct query tables. So calculated tables are available here, because when I say new table, what is my date table? It's a calculated table. But yes, if I have a table which is direct lake, I can't create a calculated column. I cannot create a calculated column on a direct lake. But if it's a DAX table or import mode table, I can definitely do whatever I was doing. That limitation has been taken. So I can pretty much go ahead and create an a DAX table at least. Now, if I'm creating a DAX table, I will be able to add a column also. Like in this date table, I can go ahead and add a new column also. That's possible. So back on the majors, gross. Then we have new major. Again, I want to create now the line level major. cogs, sumx, sales. I have not created this line level calculation, so just wanted to show also. So I think I have cost multiply by quantity. So line level calculation, no calculated column for direct lake mode, tables. So you have to do the line level calculation. So we got gross, we got cogs, we also need discount percentage. So let's create one more measure. We will first get discount, is nothing but sumx sales gross, not the major, gross amount, multiply by discount percentage, divide by 100. And those who are from SQL world might be thinking 100.0. No, that's not required in Power BI. Power BI does take care of. And I do need little more measures. I do need a net measure here. So now I'm going to create a measure which is using the measures only. So a measure can use aggregated column, or a measure can use another measures. Everything need to be aggregated inside a measure. So net measure is nothing but gross measure minus discount measure, which is nothing but sum of gross sales minus sum of discount amount. Then what we need is, we need a discount percentage measure. Discount percentage is nothing but divide. Whenever I want to divide, I use divide function. Divide discount by gross. And I'm using measure. And I have always talked about this many times when we discuss Power BI. Whenever we want to divide, we use sum of A by sum of B. Where is sum of A by sum of B? Discount is already sum of discount, gross is already sum of gross amount. We cannot have average discount percentage. Average discount percentage, which is already my discount column, is not going to give me true average, because that is line level average. And it means for an item, if I giving more discount, for a high value item, if I give more discount or less discount, that is going to skew my discount overall percentage in that direction. And to know that, you should always use formula, which is sum of discount amount by divide by sum of gross amount. And because these are measures, it's are already aggregated, so same job. Okay, there is one person who has asked coding name. How will I switch to report view from modeling view? See, we don't have a report view here. In the file we have create report. We create the report separately here. So it is not like import mode where you have reporting view. And also, even in the import mode, I personally don't advise you to, semantic model and report should be together. No. First you create your semantic model. Then have a test page. Test, okay, it is working fine. Publish it. And then use live connection and create all your reports. Reports metadata, the development of semantic model should always be separated out from the visualization. They should not be in the same file. Now this is a must, or there is no other option to do it in direct query. The model is separate, the report is separate, but in import mode also, import mode file is only for semantic model. Visualization should be created in live connect. I know it is little difficult. I don't have a measure. I need to add it. I need to go ahead and add semantic model and then refresh it and do it. It could be a little, painful or a little challenging if when you see, but that's how it need to be done. The semantic model should be separate. The report should be separate. Don't use report tab. It is just for testing purpose. Go ahead and create a new in live connect mode in case of import mode. Now we have measures. We have, date table is connected. I definitely would like to do some time intelligence measure. I would also like to use calculation groups, but before that, let's create a one report and see things are working. So file, new report, and please remember, some of you who go ahead and open this model from the workspace, it might by default open in the viewing mode. You have to explicitly go ahead and click editing mode, and for that you need a permission, edit permission on this workspace. or this model actually. Yes, UDF, user defined functions, is a feature, and I think what we have to do is this model. I'm not sure how do we do. So go back. I think we should be able to do UDF here also. So go to your workspace. Where is our semantic model? This is our semantic model. Click on here on the semantic model and go to this write DEX queries. Okay, now you are in the DEX query mode and you should be able to write down your UDFs here. Just try out. I think UDF should work here. I'm not tried out. I did it in the import mode, but I'm assuming we should be able to use. And I'm not sure why it is only showing item and sales here. I think I did open a different data model. I think okay, I opened a different one, but yes, from the DEX view, DEX query view, you should be able to create the UDFs. User data function. So UDF is used for two purposes. UDF in Fabric, user data function in Fabric, custom UDFs. And then we have UDF in Power BI, which is again user defined function. So data, not data. Both the cases it is user defined function, and this user defined function in Power BI is for define the DEX function. I think we do have a UDF here in Fabric. Go back to the workspace, and here there is also a UDF. Okay, this is known as user data function. UDF in the Fabric is user data function. UDF in Power BI is user defined function for DEX, and these user data functions are used for write back. There are multiple purposes for that, but we can use that for write back. Okay, so write back means I want to create a form in the Power BI. I want to write back. I will use user data function in Fabric to support that. I want to create a custom function in Power BI, then I will use UDF, user defined functions in DEX to do that. And for both of them, the videos are available in the channel, and if time permits, I'll give you. Now I'm back on. This is the older report, isn't it? I'm going to create a new report file, create new report. I'm back on my report creation, and what I'm going to do here is, now I got my major table, sales table, item table. Item, I'm going to drag brand. Zoom it a little bit. I'm going to bring in gross and net. These are the two measures which I keep on using, and I know, remember the numbers, that it should be around 10 million, it should be around 7.8 million. So the data seems correct. I can analyze it. Okay, until now you can still bring in, let's say I don't have sum of quantities, I can still, so, and I can create any kind of visual here. I can go ahead and click on pie visual. I can add it here. I can have, let's say, categories from item table. I can bring in another measure, logs. And then what I can do, once I created a report, I can save it. I can choose any of the workspace, but my preferred workspace would be the one where I'm creating this semantic model, or a one which I've made for the purpose of reporting only, where I'm going to create my report. Then let's add a name here, report 001. We got a report. First time when you save the report in Power BI service, it goes into the viewing mode and you have to click on edit to edit it. We'll come back to this report. What we are going to do is we are going to enhance our semantic model. Some of you asked for the parameters, so I'm not going to discuss numeric parameters. Now, numeric parameters is something which you have to use some formula. You get a range and then you use that numeric range into some formula to use. I'm going to use field parameters, and two purpose you can use parameter for dynamic axis or for dynamic measure. Let's create an axis, dynamic axis. So fields is the option here. First option field. Second option is fields. First option is numeric range. I'm going to use this. Axis is the name I want to give. What I want to do is I want to bring item, brand, category, subcategory, name, city, state, let's say customer. And because both are names, it may create little trouble. So both are names, so let's call it as customer. So I got access, it means I can get a dynamic access. I'm going to showcase you how to use the dynamic access. Then I also want to create a select major. I want to create one more new parameters, fields, and this is major slicer. This is there. Now I'll tell you interesting things. This is I was doing couple of days back. There was a question which has been asked. I don't think that that person needed that feature. Now when you created this access parameter, and let's say you want, whenever I click on customer, all the customer field should come. Whenever I click on the city, I should get all the city fields. So what I've done is I manually edited this table. Now here you will not be able to do it because it's not visual easily, but still you can add a custom column, and I've taken out this name of the table, item and geography and customer, and I created a new calculated column. And what I've done is I dragged this entire axis, all the column of this axis, into my visualization, and using that I was able to switch all the columns of customer. When I click on the customer, all the column of customer. When I click on geography, all the column of geography. When I click on item, all the column of item. So it was able to switch like that. That's something you can try out. I'll also try to create a video on that. We got access slicer, we got major slicer. Now I would like to go back to the report I created. They are not appearing here. Just press this refresh, the fourth icon from the right. There are two refreshes here typically. One is basically the data refresh or semantic model refresh. Then one more refresh you can do from the top of the page. So once I refresh it, you can see quickly it all got the access table as well as the major table, major slicer. These are the two tables which you. Now let's try to add a new page, and here I'll bring in this access. First I'll bring this access as a slicer. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, you might face this issue. You know when you do it, sometime it may not take it for first time, so just remove it and edit. Now here I got the row. So if you look at here, if I can expand it, it will give me brand, category, and everything. You will see what is the benefit. I'll tell you the benefit, just hold on. So this is basically the hierarchy travel pending, and then I go to a major slicer, I put it on the column, on the values. So I'll getting all those values, isn't it? Now I'll also go ahead and take one more slicer. I put majors here also. Again, it doesn't work properly. Just go ahead and remove it and add. Now I select the brand here, one, and I select gross here. Brand wise gross, brand wise net, brand wise discount, category wise discount. Control click, category wise net and discount. Category and category wise gross, net, discount. So dynamic report. Axis is dynamic. The majors are dynamic. And why I say axis, because this is the common term. You will say row is dynamic. You can actually have a column visual or the bar visual. So you can have this one actually. And here it is axis actually, isn't it? The x-axis and the y-axis. So dynamic x-axis, dynamic y-axis, or dynamic rows, dynamic columns, dynamic majors, all those words. So for majors we use major slicer, dynamic majors, dynamic y-axis, dynamic value axis. For axis we use dynamic axis, axis slicer, all these terminology, or dynamic dimensions or dimension slicer, all those words we use. So I think Amir is asking, my fabric trial has expired. Now what happens, Amir, what you can do is, you will not be able to start the trial, but you can ask your peers to start the trial and share that capacity. So whenever somebody start a trial, he can share that capacity with the entire organization or with others. They can share that capacity with you, and you create a workspace using that capacity, you will be able to do it. So now we know we can do measure slicer and access slicer using field parameters. We can save this report further. We go back and we will now use calculation groups, something we discussed in the beginning. So now I'm going to create two kind of calculation group, one for time intelligence and one for major slicer. And the combination of these two is really important. The first calculation group is just very similar to what we have done in field parameters, but there is a difference. Field parameters only create a slicer, while calculation group converts this measure into dimension. You will be able to use measure name as a dimension value, and I'll show you the difference. So yes, it will discourage implicit measures. Those plus sum of quantity will not be possible anymore now. The previous one may exist. Now one of the ways is using this selected measure, means whatever measure is been available, you are going to use it. But in the first one I don't want that, and you need to be looking at the properties. It will automatically create this calculation group here, and the calculation group column, calculation item. Calculation item is the one finally which you are editing. And here I'm going to quickly create 3 of them, gross, and I'm going to use gross measure. Same name, same column. You will say what he is doing. Okay, you will understand that once I. Then again click on calculation item, new calculation item, net. Simply same measure. I can have a, if you want, you can have a different measure name. That's not a problem. Net and discount percentage. Third, one more calculation item. And you do have this dynamic string formatting and everything. If you want to format here, you can give a formatting string here, like like 0.0% hash. It's at least have one decimal. For discount, I've done that. I've kept it. I've not done anything for these 3. This is just one calculation group, and this is like a major slicer, isn't it? So I can go to the calculation group and I can call it major set. I already used slicer word. Okay, major set. This is my major set. Now what is the advantage? I'm created 3 majors, and I could have used sum of gross sales, sum of net sales, and all those I could have done that calculation here to avoid creating those multiple majors. But I have majors, so that's why I used it. Now click on calculation group and create new calculation, and this is going to give you that advantage why you use calculation group. I want to create a time intelligence set of measures. So let me go ahead and click on this calculation group 2. Name of the calculation group, I'm going to say TI, time intelligence. And in this TI, I'm going to add few calculation items. The first calculation item is already added. I'm going to change it to MTD. I'm going to write down very simple formula here. Calculate selected measure. Whatever measure has been given to you, dates MTD, date of date. Now I am not giving any measure, so it means for any measure I need MTD, I can use this. That is the advantage of selected measure, reduction of measures using calculation group, your use case. So previous calculation group was slicer, major slicer case, measure on top of axis that we are going to see in some time, and the second one is reducing measures. So we are going to using this reducing measure right now. NTD, same way I can create QTD, Q here and Q here. And I did a face problem in the past where I changed the Q at one place and I forgot to change QTD here, and I was saying, oh, why my calculations are not working. So careful, copy paste effective. And then the third one, the last one is YTD. I can have as many as I want, but be careful if you are looking for YOY. The YOY is not going to be so easy. Okay, you might not be able to refer the calculation so easily. Next calculation. Yes, Venkatesh, you are right. Calculation group has more than 10 plus users, and I did have created a special video where I have actually created on top of calculation group. I further went and I created calculated columns, and then I created further more complicated UIs. So the UI which you are going to see, you can create much more complicated UI if you go ahead and edit those calculation group tables. So go ahead and watch. There are a lot of content around, you know, how to fully use these calculation group. Even for field parameters, I was talking about some new item. Okay, so refresh this. I think it is automatically refreshed. It got major set as well as the TI. Yeah, both are there. Add a new page. That's the beauty of this online model. It automatically. So major set is very simple. Create a slicer. Put this calculation group here, and then you create a table visual or a matrix visual, preferably in such case matrix visual or a visual, because the calculation group is unlike your field parameter. It is converting major into dimensions. It is going to go on columns, and then you need to bring a row also. Let's say item brand, and then it will error out. It will not show because you need a major. So though it is a calculation group which contain all the majors, still need one major to showcase you all three, isn't it? So you got all those things, and now you can use discount percentage, gross, net, slicer. Say major slicer field parameter, major slicer calculation group. What is the difference? Now to understand this difference, let me here. Okay, and you will go ahead and try this with field parameters. Can you do it or not? Now what I'm going to do in the columns, this is calculation group is available in column. I'm going to bring the category below the calculation items, and let me go ahead and uncheck all these majors, and let me expand my columns because only columns are there. Major on top, first major and then categories. You can go ahead and try it out with majors. Category would always be on top, gross would be below, net would be below. Major on top. It is just not acting as a slicer. It does convert those names of the majors, or your major has been converted into dimension. One of the biggest advantage I get when I create calculation group for major slicer, one of the advantage I get, it is just not slicer, it is also give me case like major on top and allow me to create complex UIs which I need. Also in calculation group, you can have calculation based on, let's say if it is in scope, then show null and all those levels you can handle, so that you can create complex UIs for your balance sheet. Very recently I've explained how to use calculation group when you don't want all the subtotals. Let's say I want discount only in the grand total and gross as a distribution. So gross should show category 1, category 2, category 3, but discount should only show total. That also can be handled in calculation group. Again, I have a video on the channel for it. We are going to add one more page where, and basically I would duplicate this. Preferably, let me duplicate this because I have created another time intelligence one, isn't it? What now I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring in this, remove this row. I'm going to bring TI here. Also going to cross this out. TI calculation group, this calculation. Okay, why no data is coming? The problem is with my data. My data is not working for the latest date. So I need to bring in month here, and you will see month here is not sorted correctly. That is what we have not done. So go here on the tables, date table, click on the month year column, scroll down, advanced, sort column is month year sort. Now if you go back there, be able to see the correct sorting order. Let's just refresh it. Now it is in correct sorted order. Convert this into a slicer. I have data in, I think, 2018 and 2019. 2018 December I should have some data, or let's say 2019 January. So now what you see here is basically MTD, QTD, YTD, gross, net and discount. Okay, we definitely need one major for reference here. Okay, and I don't need the second calculation group. I can still get it for COGS. Okay, why my MTD, QTD, YTD is equal? Because I'm using Jan. If I start using, let's say, April, all of them will give different. May is even better example. Okay, so MTD, QTD. But if I want both of them to be there, means both the calculation groups, and get that more dynamicity, then I can have it. So I can have now all of them, or you can have multiple majors here. You don't want to use the second one, drag discount percentage, drag discount. dragnet. For all of them, you will get MTD, QTD, YTD. Now to keep it really dynamic, I created for both of them. Okay. And then you can have a slicer for the TI also. Time intelligence also, you can have the slicer. Okay, I only want MTD. Net. MTD for net. So both can act as slicer. Both can be used together. And you get the dynamicity. Now it create another world of requirements which is there. So go ahead and explore these out, and there are tons of videos which I've done. Profit and loss balance sheet, I'm not done using calculation group, but I do have a video on my channel for P&L which I've done using the dimension method. But I'm going to give you one video on calculation group which is actually going to help you out. How can you do something for the how can you use it for balance sheet or this one? So let me see if I can quickly find out that. Just give me a second. I'll give you those videos which you have asked for. Meanwhile, you keep on asking your questions. I'm just trying to give some videos out here. I've created one recent one on the calculation group. Let me see if I can quickly find that out. Meanwhile, please keep on asking your questions in comment. I'm just trying to see if I can give some of the videos which are handy. Okay, so the video which I was talking, which can help you in create some balance sheet kind of a UI is basically when you can control where I'm going to display. So this is the video which is going to help you out to showcase you only in grand totals or somewhere where you can create the calculation group and use it. Now if you want further more complication in calculation group, use this video. The second one I'm going to give you that. If you are looking for P&L not using calculation group, but you are fine with other options also, then I think I have P&L. The two videos on P&L I have. Let me give you a link for those. I given you the P&L link. There are two of them. Okay, let me see. Calculation group. Yeah, all of them is in the advanced playlist. So if you look at the advanced playlist, you will get that. Advanced playlist itself is 200 video long. So just look at the videos and just do it. And sometime like calculation group video, the last one does not talk about calculation group. It only talks about how to hide it in grand total. I think I should have given the calculation group in the title, but this series is going to help you out. Now let me see. Do we have a consolidated video of index which covers everything? I have this 20-hour video plus this series. Okay, 20-hour video covers all the basic concept. After that, you should see the advanced series, selective video from advanced series and beginner series. The reason I ask people to still see the beginner series because each individual Power Query function and DAX function has been covered, and still 20-hour video might not have that. Okay, so best is start with 20 hours. Anybody who's preparing for PL 300 or for any exam or any interview, start with 20 hours. Then selective video from the concept series and the beginner series. Let me see if there is any other question. Calculation group is there in the video list. GitHub link. Okay. This contains all the data. The GitHub contains all the data. You have to explore different folders. Learn is the folder. Learn Power BI files is the folder which is basically for your 20-hour video, and then data learn for full Power BI video is for the last to last year video. And then we have Hindi interview files, then we have CSV files, flags, icons and images are created if you want to explore those, image slicer, in button slicer and all those. Okay, any other question you want to ask? The last set of question for today. Tomorrow again we are meeting the one last session in this series for DP700, and I'm going to also share some of the videos which I've already shared in the group, which is not created by my channel but by some other channel, but we are going to help you a lot in clearing your DP600 and 700. With one lake, can we use scorecard goals in Power BI service? I think it should not be a problem. It should be. Just try it out. I have not. So go ahead and try that out. 20-hour video is useful. Thank you for that. So I've shared the link of the tomorrow's video. I do hope to see you all in the last video. Thanks for all of your support in the morning. I know for India it is little early morning, and the people from UK and some other places are even attending almost nearing their midnight. So thanks a lot for all those who are making it to this one, and thank you those who are joining it in their late evenings. We will wrap up this series tomorrow by giving some additional tips and video links which are really useful for your DP700 preparation or DP600 preparation. In case you have some question, be ready with that. Keep on posting them on comments, and whenever I enable the posting in the WhatsApp group. Looking forward to see you in the last video of the series. Thank you all. Have a great day or great evening.